Hello, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live. This is the first one in a while, I think, since we did the total solar eclipse. I can't
Oh, I
remember
did
if I've
one
done one. You've done one. Zach's
by
done one.
myself. Yeah,
Hey,
my first one.
about
Crushed
that,
it.
man. That's right. Crushed it. Um, well, we got some storm chances tomorrow, and I know what you're thinking. It's like, yeah, well, we had storm chances the last time too, Monday night to Tuesday, but we really had our doubts on that system,
Yeah,
in my opinion. There was a capping inversion that looked like it was going to be pretty strong. The soundings that went up looked pretty strong. There may be a capping inversion for this one too.
yeah, there might be. It's gonna be a lot smaller, like higher likelihood that it breaks.
Yeah.
At
So
least in some spots.
personally, I do believe that we are going to see some storms tomorrow, and I'll show you kind of why. Camera's like, who do I focus on here? So first, the next system that's going to be arriving is tomorrow afternoon into the evening. We're going to break down all the timing. If you have some weather questions, let me know. I know there's someone that has a school thing that they're trying to do in the evening tomorrow, and I'm like, ooh, that might be a little sketchy in the afternoon and the evening. And the pollen is horrible, Sandra. I hear you full heartedly. This pollen is terrible. There's no doubt about that. Next system is arriving, and you can see it making its way through the northern Rockies. One thing that of note of interest is you got some very impressive cold temperatures aloft. Because look at all the snow that's falling.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of the question, not out of the realm of possibility. Because when I was driving to Leadville, Colorado, this time last year, maybe late April, it was snowing quite a bit. It was a pretty strong system.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, it's not unheard of to have snow in the northern Rockies. But what it does tell you is that there's some cold air in the mid levels of the atmosphere. So, and that leads to instability, which we
Mhm.
will portray with some soundings. 3 years ago, we had snow too. How about that? Says Kathy B. Yes, we sure did. How about Josh Weisel recognizing we got a little new
Oh, we
layout?
do?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't notice
yeah.
that.
It's a little bit different. We kind of changed some stuff. Naturals game tomorrow night. Yeah, we're going to have some storms that they're going to have to contend with, but I think the majority of the activity will be right around first pitch. I don't think it's delaying the game the entire night,
Right.
personally.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. Talk about what's happening and the timing because Freddie's just like, hey, what time will the storms be arriving in the River Valley tomorrow? So here's what we've got. All right, we're going to take this through the next several hours just to kind of break it all down for you. First of all, very complicated surface map. There's a lot going on. There's a warm front to our north. That's why it was so warm and humid. You got a dry line that's off to the west. You got a low pressure system. You got another cold front that's diving in. This front, by the way, is going to be impacting us tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Not only that, but it's going to drop the temperature too. Now, currently, I got to show you this before we bounce back to the dew points. Currently, we really didn't have a whole lot of high moisture content. In fact, our dew points were in the 40s throughout most of the day, which is what made it really nice and warm and kind of felt maybe a little bit summer like. It wasn't the summer humidity, but it was like that summer warmth.
Yeah.
Well, those dew points now are climbing. We're in the upper 50s and we'll continue to climb into the mid 60s tomorrow. So, if everybody's wondering what the dew point is, what's the best way to describe that, Peyton?
What do you mean?
What's the best way to describe? Well, if people are watching and going dew point, I don't know what does that mean.
Oh, it's like the moisture content in the atmosphere or in the air. Yeah.
So the higher the number, the more fuel you have. You have upper 60s, lower 70s,
Yeah.
yellow shades. That's a lot of fuel for thunderstorms. It's kind of like the gasoline, if you will. Now, as we move over time, tonight and into tomorrow morning and into the afternoon, even those yellow shades start creeping into the river valley.
Yeah.
So that means thunderstorms are going to be possible. And let's take you through the timing of all this. So here's the future track surface map. I made this, by the way. And you're going to notice that, first of all, someone said the warm front crashing into the cold front. That actually doesn't happen. The cold front crashes into the warm front, though, which is when you have an occluded front. And you're going to notice here, right there, some thunderstorms starting to pop up along the front. Cape values about 2,500 or 2,000 to 3,500.
Yeah. A ton of instability.
That's a lot of instability. It absolutely
Probably the most we've
is.
seen forecasted over us by a model this year, probably.
Yeah. So On Monday, we had a capping inversion and we really didn't have a source of lift. There was no front coming through. The upper level energy was to the northwest. So this is what we're looking at for tomorrow evening. Look at the storms popping up as the front starts to make its way through. Now I'm going to show you a zoomed in view too, but this model is a little bit flaky where it pops up storms, but for some time it doesn't show anything. So there's a look at the storms dropping south, and then there's the rain that continues. Now, if we look at the severe weather risk, and then we'll do a more zoomed in view, here's the severe weather risk. This is going to be updated, by the way. Got a great question by Shayla, and I'm going to answer that because that's an excellent question. But here's a look at the severe weather risk. I'm going to bring this up full so you can see. The enhanced risk and the more energy, no doubt, and the colder temperatures aloft with less of a cap will be over south central Illinois. But the thing is that we're not, immune to storms tomorrow. I don't think that front comes in. If you're wondering about timing, and we're going to show you a more zoomed in view, but there's the timing. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. is that time window. 10 p.m. at the very latest in the southern sections of our weather coverage area. 3 p.m. Probably the earliest point in northwest Arkansas. Large hail, damaging winds, a non-zero tornado threat. So the non-zero tornado threat's important because we're going to show you why there might be some severe weather and tornado potential tomorrow. It's a small window of opportunity, but I do think it is there. So here's Peyton. Here's a look at the future track, and we'll bring this up on a different model. See how this whole time the radar barely moves, but the clouds do? Something's weird there because there's a storm that pops up in northeast Oklahoma, and then all of a sudden, see, it's not there. And then watch, in one frame, boom, there it is.
Yeah. Something's
squirrely.
I don't know.
That's big time squirrely. So this has a big storm coming through Fort Smith. So we had a question in here about Rudy. How's Rudy looking? So Donita, Rudy is could have. I mean, that comes to fruition. That could be a pretty serious storm.
Yeah,
Donita. So you'll have to be watching that. I'm guessing no high school softball at 4:30 in Huntsville due to the weather. Well, here's the deal.
Why delayed start?
What's interesting about this is we know the storms are going to be isolated. We don't know where they're going to be exactly. So I know you've heard me preach this many, many times, but there's a storm development. Now, I want to look at a different thing. We're going to bring up the model on a different source. So this is called Pivotal Weather. This will show you all the frames in between, and or does it skip? It does skip too. Okay. No, it doesn't. There it is. So there's 3 o'clock. See how it's nudging into northwest Arkansas. Here's 4. It's kind of dropping southeast. Then it moves into the river valley. Boy, that is a big time storm if that comes true. Then you can see it dropping southeast. And notice how this doesn't have much thunderstorm development at all in northwest Arkansas.
I want to check and make sure we're not muted. Remember we had that problem yesterday.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, when it muted us on OBS.
Well, let me know if you guys can hear comments. Let me know. We're doing some audio testing, and we've done some configuration behind the scenes that'll make it easier to stream and more seamless as well. I personally think you'll be able to hear us. We're just muting the audio on if there was sound on the screen. But
yeah,
let me know if you guys can hear me real quick. Okay, you can hear. Perfect. Cool. Josh Wise will say, yeah. Hey, good point. Because you never know, honestly, if the audio can go out because we had to do a lot of settings on OBS. But going back to this model here, I want to go back to an 18Z run, which is a longer, frame, a longer timeout, and you're going to see this has a lot more storms in northwest Arkansas. See that? So look at that trend. So it goes from this, which doesn't have as much in Fort Smith, to the latest one, developing more storms in the river valley and not as much in northwest Arkansas. This is that like wishy-washy kind of thing that we're talking about. I'm going to go to that time. So let's do 5 o'clock. Okay. Let's stop it at 5. Stop it. I hate how it does that. So 5 o'clock, which is 22 hours. So we're going to click on 22. a single image. We're going to do a model trend loop, even though there won't be much. Let's see how the models over the last several runs have shown where the activity is going to be at 5 o'clock. So here's one time
This was yesterday. This model was yesterday evening.
at 7 o'clock our
Mhm.
time
Yeah.
when the model was initialized. Here is the next one. This is at 1 o'clock in the morning this morning. Here is 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, see, that trend is definitely over Northwest Arkansas. And then the last one
Back to
What?
back to Fort Smith.
went way south. So if we look at the trends, it looks like that one might be the outlier. It looks like it's a loop, but it's not. This is basically a snapshot of what the radar could look like at 5 o'clock. So let's look at some soundings. Let's go to the latest one here. Let's click on this and let's look at some soundings. And so wind shear pretty poor on that. However, the hail size, my goodness, it could get rather large.
Yeah.
I think personally, hail and damaging winds are going to be the most likely.
Look at the amount of DK,
Yeah. Decape over 1,000. My
which
goodness.
is insane.
Yeah.
So that means if you have a storm collapse, going to be some damaging winds around that. Got some microburst potential, and of course, it kind of correlates to your updraft strength in a way.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Some hail possible. No, all this is possible. Not saying
Man.
it's going to happen. but
So,
possible.
great question, Carrie. What time? The time is going to be approximately, I would say, between 3 to 10 o'clock. So I got a better idea to give you the timing. And this is going to vary essentially where you're at. But let me show you this timeline here. So this is the 2-day timeline. And you're going to notice that those rain chances kind of bump up, especially during the afternoon tomorrow. And the highest point, as you saw, 5 o'clock, thunderstorm chances possible. Let me bring that up a little bit larger so you can see. There you go. So 60%. There you see the most likely time for storms. And that's with the 2-day precipitation forecast. Then it drops off pretty quickly. The River Valley forecast, very similar, as you're going to have storm chances popping up during the early afternoon, and then it drops off pretty quickly. So here you go. And once again, 5, 6 o'clock. So I do personally think storms are going to be very likely tomorrow.
It's hard to tell exactly where.
That's the problem. And I know people want to know. But another thing this front is going to do is drop the temperatures, man. Look at this temperature drop going from 83 to the low 50s later on that night. And then that's going to stick around. So Larry asked, what's the storm ethnicity track look like? Ethnicity, well, that's
I don't know.
yeah, but it would be helicity, storm track, a helicity track. So the helicity storm track. Let's look at that. Let's look at some of those helicity tracks and see what we got. And I'll bring this up and we'll take a
Go
look.
back to the model loop.
Yep, we got to go back to the model loop. We will do that. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is we'll bring us up on camera. Remember, a lot of this stuff is behind the scenes, so we're kind of clicking around, but we'll go back to a single image. Then we can go to the forecast loop. Then we're going to go to in severe weather, updraft helicity. And remember, this is for the most recent one, which only shows a storm popping up in the river valley. So here we go. Here's a helicity track. We move along in time. Nothing obviously in the morning, but there's that helicity track during the afternoon, coming right through the east side of extreme eastern Oklahoma, eastern Sequoia County, and then tracking through the river valley. But the problem is that remember, that might not be what actually happens, because this model, which was ran 6 hours before, will show helicity tracks through Northwest Arkansas. So
Yeah.
I personally think it's going to be Northwest Arkansas and the river valley, just because we have instability. And which you actually have been looking at, Peyton. But let's get to some questions here, because we did have some really good questions asking about some of the differences. So one asking a specific location, is Gentry going to get it? Too early to say that, because if there is a storm and it does move over Gentry, then it will be possible. But all these storms will be developing. Here's a great question from Shayla. Cap versus Cape. And we're not doing the millennial cap
No cap.
meaning, yeah, no
Lying.
cap on this. We're no cap on telling you this explanation. The cap versus cape. Peyton, I'll let you describe cape and then I'll explain the cap. I got a graphic for it.
All right. So CAPE is actually an acronym. So it's convective available potential energy. So how much thunderstorm fuel is there in the atmosphere? So how much potential is there for convection, so to speak? So that's I think that's
Now,
pretty good.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
can illustrate this by looking at a model sounding. You can show them exactly that positive area where the lift might be occurring. So we'll take a look here. Yes. So we're going to bring this up. This is called a model sounding. This is called through BuffKit. So stand by here. Bring this up on this. Bring it up full. There you go. So you see that yellow line on the screen in the middle of the screen? That is, if you were a hot air balloon, that is the process, the partial process curve that you would basically travel in the atmosphere. Now, it's not a direction, it's basically you're following along a temperature profile. So the problem is we're not going to be able to explain to you, we're not going to be able to explain to you in a matter of a few minutes how to read a sounding. What we can tell you, though, is the area that is positive in between those red and yellow lines, that's CAPE. The bigger that area, the more the thunderstorm is going to
And
rise.
here's a cap at the bottom.
Yeah.
So when the yellow is on the right of the red, which is the temperature, this is all your fuel. This is all your convective available potential energy. But this down here, this is your cap. This is a lid on the atmosphere, and you have to break this cap, which means your environment or your partial process curve has to be warmer. So to the right. And this is 6 a.m. So as you go throughout the morning, you get more surface heating, and that cap starts to erode naturally just because the surface gets warm. As
And
well
there it
as
is, yeah.
mid-level
Mid-level cooling
destabilization.
too.
Yeah.
Because you can get lift, you can get dynamic cooling with a column, all those things. And then look at that. That's not bad. And the hodographs, as someone mentioned, Alex Hall said, notice the hodos don't look too terrible either. They're not terrible. That's a lot of instability. That is something to definitely watch. So that is the area between the curve. That's what CAPE is. CAPE is the area between the environmental sounding and what we call the partial process curve. If it's hot air rises, right? If you're a hot air balloon and you are warmer than your surrounding air, then you are going to be stable. But if the air in the hot air balloon is warmer than the surrounding air, so let's say you have cool air around you and you're warmer, then you're going to rise. But as soon as that air gets warmer than the air in your hot air balloon, now your air is actually about the same temperature or cooler. So that's where you stop rising. So showing by the mouse here, this would be your thunderstorm, which would form right about here. And this is called the level of free convection.
And that's at 5,300 feet.
Which is pretty low.
Yeah.
And then notice how that air is going to rise. Now the air is warmer than its surrounding air, and that means it's just going to continue to rise. So that is CAP. Excuse me, that is not CAP. That is CAPE. It's one letter off. That is convective available potential energy. That is what is. That's what
The
CAPE
potential.
is. Yeah. But you have to realize that. You can't, if you don't hit the LFC, you don't get thunderstorms,
Right.
which is what the cap can do. Now, what the cap is, we're going to explain that. But the cap is a warm layer of air aloft. And what it does is it prevents thunderstorms from rising because of just what you saw with that sounding. Now, how does it develop and where does it come from? Well, let me show you here real quick. We're going to bring this up.
Where is that? Let me show you.
What?
It's ingrained in my head.
Oh, yeah. Path of Totality was amazing.
Mhm.
And all the people that I talked to that weren't impressed, I was like, well, were you in totality? Nope. And I was like, that's why you weren't impressed. I don't know how many times I could have told people
Yeah, you only said it a million
a
times.
million times for 7 years.
Mhm.
And if they didn't get to totality, I understand some people couldn't. They had work issues, they had school, they had things. But if they chose not to go and they could have, and they weren't impressed, that's on them. So here is the cap or the lid. All right, understanding the cap. So you have the surface. You have air at the surface that's near the surface. That's warm layer of air. But then you have that hot, dry air that's above that warm layer of air. And that means that the thunderstorm, as it tries to rise, won't be able to. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring up, do we still have weather 2 open? We do. All right. I'm going to bring up on this.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can kind of bounce back and forth.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was trying to think of how to do.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we got that warm layer of air aloft. Next is what's happening during the daytime is you have that cap. How can it be broken or how can it, erode? Well, you see how it's trying to rise. If you get any type of cooling aloft, as you'll see, like that, now you have a less of a cap,
Yeah.
or you have forcing of some kind. Your level of free convection is this right here, where the air is going to be colder than the surrounding air, or the air is warmer than the surrounding air. So you are actually warmer, so hot air will continue to rise. Guess what? That's going to form and develop into your thunderstorm.
Yeah.
So that is the cap.
I realized we could have done both of these at the same time.
And we are.
Oh yeah.
So here's what we're going to do.
So I'm starting at.
So here's both of them. All right. And so what you're seeing here is both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So you've got on the left-hand side a more illustration of what's representing, and then you got the skew T on the right-hand side. Told you geek out. If you guys ask the question,
So this
we'll
is that,
answer it.
This is that cap.
There's the
This is
cap.
That hot, warm air. That hot, dry, warm layer of air.
Yeah.
3,000 to 7,000 feet.
That is preventing thunderstorms from rising.
Yeah. The cap is right at 4,300 feet.
Okay. And that's exactly what I have, about 3,000 to 7,000. Now,
but as you go throughout the day, you get more heating.
Mm-hmm.
You can break that cap.
And if you have a front coming in and forcing that upwards, guess what? Now we have our thunderstorm right here starts rising and then boom. And look, it's going to reach. That's pretty cool, actually.
We actually used this after we made it. After I said we're never going to use this, we used it.
So here is, this. Yeah.
WSI 1 and 2.
This 1 and 2 with the camera. Yep. It's always good to have those things. This is the top of the thunderstorm known as the equilibrium level. And when we go to our weather 2 source, I'll be able to show you this. So I can point this out. This is right here.
The
equilibrium level. That's the top of the thunderstorm. This is where the storms start ambling. And then when you get overshooting tops, there's a lot of momentum acceleration here, and it punches through, which is the top of the troposphere, and it punches into the stratosphere. So that's why it's very stable. See how it warms very rapidly in the stratosphere? That warming causes the air to be cooler than its surrounding environment, so therefore it sinks. There you go. The difference between the cap, which is that warm layer of air preventing thunderstorms visually, and also with the skew T.
It's pretty solid.
People are probably. Now keep in mind that takes 2 weeks to learn in college to read a skew T. We just tried to explain it in a little bit. Bradley says CAPE is the ability of a parcel air to rise to the atmosphere. CAP is a warm layer of air that keeps parcels from rising. That could have been a lot easier of an explanation, but we wanted to illustrate it. We want to show you how we can see the cap and the CAPE. Photographs were decent in the last 2 extended runs. They were long photographs, lots of shear, absolutely. Okay. Is that a storm over Piggott, Poplar Bluff right now? I don't know. We don't have the radar loaded up there. No, I don't. I would say no. It's probably clear air mode, isn't it? No storm over Piggott or Poplar Bluff. All right, so I feel like the HRR does this every time. It's bullish the day before, then the evening looks pretty meh, then the hours before it starts to finally return. No doubt about that. Let's see here. So I showed you the Helicity tracks. Not sure if my last post came through about Farmington. It just all depends. I know you guys ask about specific towns, and we can't tell you that.
They're gonna be so isolated.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Oh, okay. Let's see. There isn't a lot of shear for these storms to play with. I don't know about that. There actually is more shear than you might think. Now, as far as like super long curved photographs, probably not. But if we go to the photographs and look at them, you'll notice that it's a pretty favorable shear profile that starts weakening as the storms come in, which makes sense because it's a frontal boundary, but they can also underdo the amount of shear. That's not terrible if a storm pops up a little bit earlier. But yeah, then the shear does weaken. But right here, though, that's not bad. Right in this region.
Yeah, the 3 to 5 o'clock
Yeah.
frame.
So if we go here and I click right here, we're probably going to see not a bad photograph. And the critical angle is pretty close to 190. And look at that instability, man. Nearly 3,000 CAPE. So we can look at that CAPE, and you'll notice there's those levels.
But nothing will happen if you don't break the cap.
But I think we do because we have
Yeah,
such strong
right.
forcing.
Oh, for sure.
So if we look at the winds, this is something important to look at. So if we look at the wind speeds, this will have streamlines on it. You're going to see the convergence right here as the front comes through. Look at that. Look at all that convergence. So you go from southwesterly, southeasterly to northwesterly. There's just so much convergence there that there's got to be storms to pop up to break that cap. Let's look at some other models here. Let's look at the ARW and see what it does. Look at composite reflectivity. You know what? I don't even think we're showing this. We're not.
Feel it.
Yeah. It's tough to do this with one screen. It would be great if we had two screens. But here is the ARW that shows the Colby effect, which is probably the most likely scenario. The storms just die out over us and then explode to our east. Let's look at the NSSL. Nothing. So maybe that cap is a little stronger than expected. Now the RRFS chooses violence. Ooh. You know, though, honestly, with the amount of forcing, it doesn't sound unheard of. The instability will be great. Why wouldn't there be rising motion to the LFC? You know, I don't buy not seeing. Whoa,
now you're
that
contaminated. You're inside the storm.
Inside the storm, but look at those lapse rates.
Yeah,
that's not terrible. And look at the shear too. It's not ideal for long track tornadoes, but I wouldn't discount maybe a few isolated severe storms. Let's look at the energy helicity index. Let's look at the 0 to 3 kilometer. Let's see if there's any low level spinning in the atmosphere. Yeah, quite a bit, according to the RRFS. How about this one, the MPAS? It doesn't go out far enough, does it? Nope. None of those go out far enough. 22 RFS. FP3 didn't show anything, like not a single storm at all. Oh,
Yeah.
Now it does.
Damn, 3 kilometers. Check it.
Yeah, we'll look at that as well. Let's go to surface precipitation, composite reflectivity, which isn't the best, but yeah, that's got a storm. One storm over northwest Arkansas. Yeah, actually a couple of storms. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be isolated. Not everybody will see rain. Not everybody will see hail, but whoever is in the path of those isolated storms, they could get rocked. Um, let's look at the photograph here for that. So there's the photograph. There's the storm coming in. There is a window of opportunity.
It's a little bit more favorable south and east.
Yeah,
Central Arkansas.
you're gonna have more heating and stuff. Yeah. But anyways, you get the idea. We definitely have that potential. All right. So let's see here. Let's go to some other questions. I feel like the slight will expand west on the next update. I think so. Been a little confused on the latest outlooks for the area. It's been kind of tough.
Even the Storm Prediction Center is probably a little confused on their outlook sometimes.
Yeah, I agree on that. Liking the new comment format doesn't cover up as much stuff. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I
lot
like it.
smaller. You can still read it. It's not as obtrusive. It started hailing super hard here in Manhattan, Kansas just now. Oh yeah, we're actually looking at that.
Yep.
Here, I'll bring that up real fast so you guys can see. Here's look at that glitching. So we were dealing with glitching.
What?
Hmm
Thought I fixed it.
Yeah, I thought you did too. Whoa, that's gonna give us that's gonna make us go nuts there. We got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Could be something with the microphone or something. I don't know.
But
Something
now
with
it's
the
fine.
audio. Well, that's now it's on WSI.
Uh,
All right, so there's Mega Doppler. There's Manhattan. Yeah, those are some isolated cells. Remember how the models had storms tonight?
yeah.
That didn't happen. Those were a little too far south.
Super far.
What time frame, Holly? If you're still here, I know it's like 10 minutes later, but it's going to be between 3 to 10 o'clock. Oh, cool. I'm a visual learner, so you appreciated that.
Nice.
According to soundings, any storms that could form could be around 40 to 43,000 feet tall. That's twice the height of Mount Everest. The cold front can provide just enough lift to support thunderstorms in a weakly capped environment. High resolution models seem to be underdone. I agree.
Ooh, I don't want anyone to be confused. It shows Alma, Kansas.
Okay, so will warnings go out if there are tornadoes this time? Was that fixed? So last time there were no tornado warnings, and it was because the storm was very difficult to discern on radar. Those are QLCS tornadoes. Now we did fix the weather call next gen issue, where it would call, but there wouldn't be any.
Yes.
There wouldn't be any
that's
voice or
good.
any script. That has been fixed according to them. So we did work on that. When do we possibly see rain and storms? So let's break that down for you and let you know what time this is going to be. And again, I'm just not going to look at the HRRR model. I am going to look at some of the longer range models, though. This is the European model. And you're going to notice, first of all, this has a lot more storm activity, Susan. So we're answering the question when we could see rain. So obviously Thursday afternoon into the evening. By 10 o'clock, it's all gone. It moves to the south. Could be as early as 3 o'clock, right as school's letting out. So we'll have to watch that. Then we're going to see rain in the River Valley Friday morning into the afternoon, I think. Well, no, maybe not a whole lot. Friday evening into Saturday morning, that's when we start seeing rain.
That's that same front.
That's that same front.
that retreats north as a warm front.
Yeah. So it doesn't go anywhere. And the reason for that is we have zonal jet stream flow. Possibly some rain Sunday morning, but then it's going to clear up Sunday afternoon. So the majority of the rain is Saturday, on and off throughout the day, and then on Sunday. I want to show you the jet stream because the reason that we have that front stalling out to the south is because the jet stream is parallel to the front, which means it's just not going to drop enough south. But enough energy there where we'll still see some systems coming in. All right, here we go. Brandon says, we have a corporate event outside 4 to 7 p.m. I'd make alternate plans, Brandon, for sure.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case. Like, don't cancel, but have alternate plans. It's going to be one of those, the storm did pop up northwest of Bentonville. We better watch it. Can't see the map. No, I know. We fixed that. So the warnings did not come out because the area that the tornado swarm was in a bit of a radar dead zone. Yep, that's what we were talking now. Just unfortunate. And in QLCS tornadoes, that's going to continue to happen. Oh man, ain't that the truth, Roby? Ticks and copperheads seem thick this year. It wasn't a super cold winter. We had that cold snap that lasted about less than a week, but overall, it wasn't. What was it? Above average, slightly. It was kind of like just a mid.
Yeah,
It was a midwinter.
average.
Josh said it best right there: high impact,
Yep.
low coverage. What does that mean? Well, storms who are getting impacted are experiencing high impacts, but that's not everywhere. Just logged a tornado. Just logged on. Tornado chances tomorrow. I don't think it's out of the question that tornadoes are possible. I think the risk is going to add a 2% above climatology for the probabilistic. It doesn't have it in there now, but I'm not sold on no tornado potential. I mean, what do you think? Am I overlooking that? Maybe. It's hard because, we're kind of being a little gun shy considering what happened the last couple of times.
But I think it's possible. You're not crazy for mentioning that it's somewhat possible given the conditions, but it is very, very, very unlikely.
Until it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That's why I said it's
So
possible.
clearly the main threat's going to be damaging winds and large hail. I think that large hail potential is going up. I mean, looking at the soundings, looking at the analogs, that's some pretty sizable hail potential. It seems it has been a light spring for storms. I'm afraid we're overdue. I would agree with that. We've had a lot of capping inversions preventing thunderstorms. Yes, Gravit is in the severe weather risk. If we go to that forecast graphic, we can show you that there's no doubt. As of right now, no, it's not. But that's going to shift. That just doesn't make sense to just completely remove Western Benton County in the severe weather risk. I see that moving and shifting northwest. Oh, yes. Pennsylvania got hammered last night. Turquoise. Thanks for letting us know.
And a lot of
about
the
that.
rain too.
Yeah, upper 60, lower 70 dew points. I mean, let's favorite, man. Let's face it. This is climatologically favored for severe weather.
Yeah,
This is our getting close to our peak, if
it's the
not
bread and butter
approaching the peak. So a lot of times systems might not look impressive and they don't look like they're going to really do much. But then you got to look at climatology. You got to look at the moisture that's returning. You got to look at the dew points that are climbing. And all of that can throw off those models, and they're just way underdone, as people have said. Here's a look at the regional dew points. Check this out. I mean, it is juicy, to say the least. 72 for a dew point in Shreveport. And we still have just under 24 hours of moisture return. So we're going to get some structure, Bradley. You are right on the money with that. We were just talking about that. Let's see here. I'm still comfortable in a short sleeve dress, and that's not a good sign for tomorrow. It's not. Bradley used my quote right there. Juicy.
Yeah, it's juicy.
It is. All right, so that kind of does it. We'll break it down the 7-day, and then we'll wrap it up. Any more questions you have, let us know. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast as we take you through the next 5 days. First of all, we did add the severe on there just because of the ingredients. The potential's there. I think you'll see that slight risk being expanded a little bit more. If we have a lot of cloud cover, that could prevent thunderstorms from forming because we're just not warm enough. And sometimes that happens when you get dew points in the upper 60s. So, but we'll see. But there's the 7-day. Notice the big temperature drop behind the front. Front comes in during the afternoon tomorrow. And probably right around 6 o'clock, I'm thinking in the Fayetteville area, 5, 6, and the River Valley, maybe around 7, 8.
Yeah.
Then it's going to push through. 68 for Friday, 59 on Saturday. That's going to be pretty chilly. Sunday in the mid 60s, and then Monday get back into the lower 70s. Now here's the 7-day for you as we take off the winds. A chilly weekend, but it does warm up pretty fast next week, and that's just the way what happens in zonal flow, where you get that rapid warming because the jet stream just lifts back to the north. So here's the River Valley forecast: 87 for tomorrow. And you got 87, nearly 90 degrees. First of all, you're going to have some high base thunderstorms. So initially, the storms are not going to be probably tornadic because they're going to be
Right.
very elevated. But over time, the more amvils you have, the cooling that happens, the shear increases, storm motions to the southeast, all that is favorable for tornado potential. Might sound weird out there, but I notice such differences where I live. I know maybe a coincidence, very strange bugs and weather. Yeah, no kidding. They were talking about how they got blasted yesterday, big time in Pennsylvania.
Someone asking about any more freezes if they're bottom. Kendra, fourth from the bottom.
Say it again.
Fourth from the bottom.
Oh, are we safe to plan? Any more freezes?
Well, technically, we are 1 day after the average last freezing date for Northwest Arkansas.
I thought that was April 7th. I thought that's today.
I thought it was April 16th.
Let's look. I think it's the 17th.
I had marked in my calendar.
Well, let's look.
I could have marked it the wrong day.
Oh, you do. April 16th. Looky there.
Nice.
Oh, we have another graphic, though. I'm looking here.
Oh, yeah. So for the most part,
Yeah.
I'd like to think we are. Of course, you saw the 39, so it's definitely possible to get that cold.
I know, Aaron. May 3rd, 2013. Believe me, I know because I was in it down in a dunk tank on that night, but that afternoon, I'll never forget it. You would think May would be a great time. Today would have been a good day for the dunk tank. It's beautiful. I know we need some rain for sure. Come
Yeah.
on, rain.
Big deficit.
Tomorrow, the deficit's coming. By the way, we're going to have the new drought monitor. For today, I'll show you what it looks like.
So for the month, Drake Field, Northwest Arkansas, over an inch below where we should be.
So there's the
Yeah.
drought monitor, and oddly enough, I think that's exactly where the storms are going to develop. Oh, Alexis, are you still in? By the way, southeast of Harrison? Because I was going to show you here. We've got in Western Grove. I kind of blanked there for a second, couldn't remember. But check this out. We've got a great view, and I'm sure you've seen it. But yeah, there's the Harrison camera. Ooh, oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just love looking at it. Look at all the pollen, too. Someone said it at the very beginning.
The yellow tint.
That yellowish tint. Golly, that's all the tree pollen that's in the air. Pollen is horrible, says Sandra back at 1040 on the stream. It is horrible. It's so bad. Please show Western Grove. There you go. So that's looking at Harrison. Western Grove is a little bit east. Now, I wonder if we could, let's move the camera a little bit. I bet you we can probably see the city lights. If you, oh, Alex, yes. Lincoln camera is back up. In
Sure
fact,
is.
not only back up, but new and improved, baby.
Beautiful.
So there's the new Lincoln camera. And look at the color quality at night.
Go to Gator Mountain, see if we can see Western Grove.
Okay, let's do that. So you're going to go probably due east, southeast. Oh, yeah. So if we go to Harrison Gator Mountain, that's the east view. Probably some of those lights right here. Let's see. Put up a firework, Alexis. I'll be able to see it. Put up a flare.
Take
Or
a
something.
flare gun.
Yeah. So that's probably Western Grove right there because that's the interstate. We'll have to look during the daytime if we can see, but those are some of the lights right there. obviously there's not much to look at, so it's having trouble focusing. But during a storm, you would see that beautifully. Yeah, that's probably it right there, because that's Harrison. Those are the lights. So it's funny, Jackie, is I can remember that, but then also I forget a lot of stuff as well. So that's we have to figure that out. I don't know why. But anyways, Hayes says, "Are we ever going to have an active severe weather season?" I know. Hayes Nelson, man, dude, he was chasing a storm that was by Cameron, Oklahoma, producing a tornado. He was on the phone as the tornado was touching down. Now that one, Hayes, that you were on was November 30th of 2018. I'll never forget that. That was a wicked storm. Bradley, where is the Harrison Tower? So that's located at Gaither Mountain. Oh, nice. Cousin is a weather girl on TV about CERN. CERN. Laugh out loud. She might think I need the nut house. Ask her about CAPE. CAPE. Convective available potential energy. Or you could say SYN-H. Yeah, you were close to that Cameron storm. I know. That's funny, Roby. That's hilarious. All right, guys. Well, we'll shut it down here. There's one thing I want to test out. We're testing out our microphone because we can click one button, and I think it's going to put the microphone. Let me see if it's still on. Check. Okay, yep. I'm switching one thing. You're going to see a camera image. Let me know immediately if you can hear me. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Let me know if you guys can hear. Now this is the microphone through the audio. So we click one button. It changes the audio source. Now you can see if I'm waving in front of the camera right here. Let me know if you guys can still hear. And if it does sound good, how's the quality of the audio? All right. Good deal. They can hear.
Glad it works.
That's what we wanted. And now I'm going to keep talking. Let me know if the audio pops or cuts out. I mean, obviously it's going to change microphones. Let's see how fast it picks back up. Go. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Not as loud, but clear. Sound isn't loud. So we can make it louder. Sounds better than normal one. Sounds like a podcast mic, honestly.
Nice. Oh, because it's the actual mic, not the webcam mic. It's in the OBS camera.
Not quite as high quality, but it's picked up instantly. Okay, I'm going to go back to PCR Fold. And we're going to put up the audio a little bit more. Check. 1, 2. Yeah, we do need to move that up.
Yeah.
Last popped. Okay. Yeah, because I was
probably when you switch it probably pops. If you switch while you're talking.
It's probably going to do it right as I'm talking, and on top of that, I was increasing the audio. So let us know, how's the audio? 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. We got some storms that are popping up across Northwest Arkansas on the River Valley, and so I'm going over to the wall. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Obviously, it's not going to be coming from the webcam, and you're not going to be able to see me on the wall because we turned off all the lights, but we just want to test the audio. We know the video works. Yeah? Is it sound better now? Is it louder than it was before? Or is it just about the same? Is it too loud?
Go back over there. You like the deal or no deal dealer?
Yeah, the no deal deal. All right.
I don't even know if he says anything.
Okay. I'll let him know. Okay. $16,000 is the new deal. Deal or no deal? All right. I think they got it.
Yeah.
You know, that's still on Game Show Network, GSN.
Oh, I'm sure. Have you seen Deal or No Deal Island?
Second is a little low for me, louder than before. Okay. We can still turn it up. I'm going to keep talking, and we're going to change the audio again. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I just changed it immediately. Almost like the smart volume on TVs where it doesn't let it get louder on commercials. It sounds loud, but I like it. Check. So I'm going to turn this up just a little bit more. Let's see what happens.
Whoa,
is that too loud? It's not peaking.
Decibels.
I don't know if they have me up there full. I'll be able
can
to
check.
check it out. First time was at the wall was muted, but when he came back, he adjusted something. It was loud and clear. Last time was muted. Check, check, check. That sounds good. That's better than. This is great. Thanks for letting us test this and letting us know. Because now, with just one button, we don't have to change the audio source around multiple things. It's really, really easy. I have earphones. Perfect. Sounds better now. We're good. That's perfect. All right. Going back to the webcam, I'm going to keep talking as I switch it over. It's going to be a different sound now because it's a webcam, so it's going to be like more of a podcast sound. But I know the audio is working. All right, that does it. Maybe give audio labels to your changes so we can respond with what it's doing. But yeah, and we can see it on OBS how we're switching it over. That microphone could be turned up a little bit more. Is that too quiet or is that good? Because we can turn that up just a little bit too, I think. Those levels are a little low. I'll turn that up a little bit more.
Okay.
This audio is clearer. Okay.
Interesting.
Much better now. It's good. Okay.
1 or 2?
Yeah, one.
1 or 2?
Oh, I always get that wrong too. Then I go leave the eye doctor with the wrong prescription. When I said OBS, it was better. It peaks a hair already. Okay. I'll drop that down a little bit.
Yeah, I can see you did peak.
Yeah. Mic check. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Mic check. But that's minus 15 to 20.
Yeah,
I think we're okay. Test. Yeah. All right. That does it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to deal with any storms. Cool. Thank you, guys. All right. Well, we're ready to go. If storms pop up tomorrow, which I think they will, and we got a new risk that's coming out, Josh Rugger will keep you up to date with the latest. Hopefully he got some sleep. He was never stopped chasing. He didn't sleep at all.
He took that quite literally, yeah.
He went chasing all the way last night, got in early this morning, went right on the air.
And was chasing the night before.
Yeah. 2 days of chasing. So
never stop chasing.
No. Well, let the doggy go to sleep. I'll be nice and quiet. Yeah. We're not going to make an ASMR, but we'll just make it at least a little quieter. Booty, not boots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get your booty on the floor. Isn't that a J-Lo song? Yeah. Are you doing any regular educational lives? Well, we did that today. You got to check it out. Cap versus Cape. So we had all that information on there.
There are times where we do geek out. We don't do it normally. I know some stations that do 24-hour weather, they will occasionally do that, but we don't.
So I will say this: I don't cover every storm across the country. I know Ryan Hall, y'all, does that, and obviously he's not doing television broadcasts. He's not doing newscasts where he has to be at a TV station. That is his job. He's really good at it, but. Yeah, we don't do that. So, but Turquoise, thanks for watching. Tell others. We'll keep you up to date on storms in this area and other big weather events if we can. But all right, it's not the mic volume. There's no thunder. No, I got you.
Smart dog.
It's funny because my dog could sleep through the biggest thunderstorm, tornado, anything, but any type of beep, like just a beep, like a microwave beep, and she's between my wife's legs, just scared as can be.
Rain or storm, Pink's gonna be meowing.
Yeah, exactly. She wants food. I'm a bit confused. I hear you answer people, but can't read them. So that's because we have a feed where we get to see all of the comments. This is different than YouTube, where YouTube has the chat. You're in the chat of YouTube, and we can see those comments when you post. But there's also Facebook and X, Twitter that it's going to.
Several Facebook, several, and YouTube. So we can see all of those feeds, whereas you're just in one of the 5 or 6 that we have.
That's right. So that's why you're not seeing those other feeds, just to let you know. And then Josh has it down, right?
My man.
He is not forecasting the hardest
Yeah.
forecast region on earth. It is.
Right.
It is tough, and the models don't help out at all. But I think thunderstorms. Last recap we're going to do here over the next 30 seconds. Thunderstorms are possible tomorrow, 3 to 10 o'clock in the afternoon. I think there are going to be some storms as the front comes through. I would be amazed if there's no storms at all. I don't think everyone gets storms though.
Right.
That's the deal.
It's gonna be hit or miss.
Hit or miss, and if you get hit, you could get hit with some sizable hail. So I think there's going to be a hatched area for hail tomorrow.
All right,
I really do.
You'll see us retweeting on the risk at 1 o'clock.
Dude,
Well, maybe not you.
I'm going
but
to bed. Are
I
you
play with
staying
NATO.
up?
I play with NATO for a while.
All right.
So it's time.
That's
But
cool.
yeah.
I know. Pink as soon as I get home. Just immediately. Like if I was a teenager, I couldn't sneak in the house anymore at all. Pink would wake up everybody. All right. Take care. As Roby says, God bless, safe travels, and we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to have all the latest. Take care. Thanks for watching. Peyton and myself, we're out. Bye.
Always remember, horns down.
Oh, yeah.